Hi there and welcome to Gaining Vision. I'm Melanie. Thanks for much for coming back. If you're a subscriber or if you're new, welcome. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share. Today we're going to talk about something that all of us have, and that's relationships. We all know there's so many different types of relationships, and we also have to face facts that some are healthy relationships and some of them are toxic. So let's break it down. I'm not always talking about intimate relationships with a spouse, a boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whatever you want to call them. But that's part of it. We're also talking about friendships, relationships in the professional world, relationships with our families, and relationships with even our neighbors. And of course, for those of us that have children, relationships with our kids. So how do we know if a relationship is healthy or if it's toxic? Well, let's just think about how it makes you feel. So when you're in a healthy relationship, you feel good. You enjoy being with that person, and it's mutually beneficial. So when you're with, let's just talk about your loved one, your spouse or your partner, you're giving and you're receiving, not financially, not material, I'm talking about emotionally. You can laugh together. You can have good conversations about things that are bothering you, that you're dreaming about, your aspirations. You can really have a good, deep relationship. And you're there for your partner in the same way. So it's mutually beneficial. You're giving and you're receiving. With a healthy relationship, it's going to be good times, like not all the time, let's face it, every relationship has its ups and downs, but it's going to be more good times than bad. So even if you're struggling, if you're in a marriage that perhaps you're going through some trying times, there's maybe a loss of a job or change in your lives, you're able to communicate with one another and work through those. It's really important, because if we don't, one person stays silent, they keep everything in, it builds up and builds up, then boom, a big fight happens, or perhaps one may stray. When you're talking about friends, it also has to be mutually beneficial. You know, you've got that friend that always just wants to party all the time, wants to go out and have a good time. But when it comes to push comes to shove and you have tragedy in your life or you're really going through something, they're nowhere to be found because you're not fun anymore. There's also those friends that's all me, 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 me. They want you to be there for them, but when you need them, they're not. Friends are great to have, whether it's to go out and have fun with or somebody to confide in. But when it gets to be too much, when you're putting in all the effort or they're always so negative that they're bringing you down, you really have to consider, is the friendship worth saving? I know there's a lot of people that go through the purging cycle in their life. As we get older, we change, our interests change, our priorities in life change. And the friends we keep, we may keep those ones. I have 3 amazing, great girlfriends from elementary and high school that have always been there for me through thick and thin. They're going to be my besties forever because we're there for each other when we need to, and also when it's just to have fun and go for coffee or for dinner. Those are the friends you want to keep around you because they're going to help lift you up. When you have those friends that you may meet at school or perhaps at a job, and then when you leave that environment, it may not fit into your life or may not be at the same level as you. Perhaps you're getting married or perhaps you're having children and your friends they're not at the same part of your life. Doesn't mean you can't have those friends, but slowly you'll notice you start to drift away because your priorities are different. Keeping relationships healthy with friends is important because you have to be able to set boundaries for what they're taking and what you're giving. And you also have to be mindful of what you're taking from them because let's face facts, sometimes we get self-absorbed and what we need and what we want in our lives. So we call on our friends when we think we need something. And the reality is they also have their lives. So we have to be respectful of their time and what they're giving and taking as well. I know that you're going to meet friends in all different aspects of your life, as I mentioned. I've met a lot of really great friends over the years after I lost my vision, and they're from the disability community. And I love it because we have a lot in common to talk about. We have a lot in common to share experiences. But also I know that we have a lot of struggles. So sometimes we may want to make sure that not only are we focusing on the disability commonalities, but we're sharing our other life experiences with, whether it's relationships, we're getting married, we're having children, whatever it may be, because it has to be a full relationship and not focused on the negative side of things all the time. So positivity and making sure that it's even balance of the give and take. Relationships in the professional world are a unique type of relationships. When you have a job, you go, you do your job, you pay your bills, you get something in exchange for it. But you may have been in that situation, whether it's your own business or you're working for someone, where you have that person you work with that just takes, and makes you do all the work. And you feel like you're putting in 80 hours a week instead of those 35 or 40 you're supposed to, because somebody else is trying to take advantage of the situation. Boundaries are so important. In work relationships, you would hope that you get the encouragement and the support that you need at work or in your professional life. But there still might be toxic relationships at work. It could be people demeaning you, disrespecting you, or the worst is stealing your ideas. So knowing those boundaries that you're going to set for yourself and for others is really important at work, especially. Again, you work probably more than you are at home, so you want to develop healthy relationships at work. So not only do you enjoy doing what you do as a job, but the people you're surrounding yourself with there as well. Let's face it, we don't get to control who works with us or who our boss is, but we can make the best of the situation. Family relationships, it's an odd situation because we don't get to pick our family. You may have a relationship with your parents, with your siblings, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents, and that would be a very special one. And 9 times out of 10, it is a healthy relationship because they are encouraging you, they want what's best for you. But you may have that family member that you may not always see eye to eye, or they may resent you for something that you don't even know what you've done years ago, that they've held a grudge, or they may be a little bit jealous of what you've done or what you have. So they bring up negativity into your life and they bring up stress. And it can really work in ways of hitting the family dynamics. So again, you need to understand yourself and what's important. Of course, our family is so important, but having healthy relationships with our families where they don't take advantage of you, they don't take advantage of that peacemaker side of you, or somebody who's patient, who always wants to keep the peace in the family, or have been known to the go-to person to solve a problem. Sometimes that's good, and that's what a family member should do. But when it's always take, and not give, it becomes toxic. You start to resent them, and you start to hold in things. And it comes out through other ways. So when you need that family member in that time of crisis, you want them to be there because they want to be there, because they love you unconditionally, not because of what you think they owe you, because nobody owes you anything. But if you don't set clear boundaries for yourself and your family, you're going to be taken advantage of. So having a healthy relationship, you have commonalities, you have someone you can talk to, confide in, and share your dreams and aspirations with. They support you unconditionally. They love you unconditionally. They encourage you to do better for yourself, even when you don't want to. They may even give you those words of encouragement to continue something you set out to do when you want to give up. A toxic relationship is when they're wanting to bring you down because they feel like you're doing better than them. So they may sabotage you in a way that you don't even realize is happening, with putting doubts in your mind or saying negative things about your abilities or what you're trying to do. They may tell you that people say something about you when really it's not true. So be careful with who you surround yourself in different relationships. The love interest, the personal intimate relationship is a little bit easier because, let's face it, that's the ones we focus on most. But the other relationships in our lives with friends, family, and professional lives are equally as important because, let's face it, the more people we have in our life, the more relationships we have in our life. Now, if you have children, having a healthy parent-child relationship is important. Being able to be supportive and encouraging them without being their best bud, because let's face it, kids need a parent. You want to make sure that your toxic situations, whether it's you're stressed about money, you're stressed about a job, or your own personal life, doesn't reflect negatively on your children. Because children are impressionable, no matter how old they are. They could be young, they could be teenagers. You've got to set a good example for them and show them what a healthy relationship looks like, because they learn as a young age. So if you're in a marriage that's toxic, your children are watching. They're seeing what you do and they're going to emulate you. So set a good example. Show them what love is. Show them what a healthy relationship is. And encourage them to also have healthy relationships in their lives, even with their friends, with their teachers, with their pets even. It's really important because they're learning at a young age, and that's what they're going to carry on through their lives. As your children grow, you need to continue to show them support in a healthy way. Your relationship will evolve, but you want it to evolve in a healthy way, not in a toxic way. Don't assume your children are always going to be there to pick up the pieces. Although we owe our parents a lot, they're not your problem solvers. They're not going to necessarily be there to keep the peace in your family all the time. You still have to be the parent. So which would you pick? A healthy relationship or a toxic relationship? I know in my life many times there were relationships that I didn't realize were turning into toxic relationships, because relationships will evolve over time. As you evolve as a person and have you go into different directions in your life, you're always going to have those people in your life that have that jealousy or that want what you want. And you have to ask yourself, do you need them in your life? Do they bring you joy or do they bring you pain? So examine the relationships in your life. Examine what's important to you, and